Now that we know that the New York Knicks are going to be going up against the Philadelphia 76ers, it's time to break it all down. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest, and we're going to hop right into today's video. So the Philadelphia 76ers, they just beat the Miami Heat, and now they move on to play the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, the number 2 seed, the Philadelphia 76ers, the number 7 seed. And of course, before we go into the actual playoffs, we got to take a look to see what the Knicks were able to do against the 76ers in the regular season. So in the regular season, the Knicks actually finished with a record of 3-1 against the 76ers. You can see right here, the first game was on January 5th, and we won by the score of 128-92. The second game, we got another W, and we won by the score of 110-96. The third game, that is when we caught an L, and we lost 73-79. And looking at that score, that was definitely an old school, bring it back to the 90s dogfight, 73-79. There was just a lot of probably defense and probably refs calling a lot of fouls. And then the last regular season meeting between these two teams on March 12th, and on the last regular season meeting between these two teams, the Knicks took the W, and we won by the score of 106-79. Now, after seeing the Philadelphia 76ers play tonight against the Miami Heat, every team at this point is an absolute threat in the playoffs. But the biggest concern that I have is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid tonight against the Miami Heat, he didn't look like his old self. He looked like he was still coming along from that knee surgery and that knee injury. And you could tell that he was very timid. You can tell that he just didn't look like his old self. So we're pretty much going up against a 50 to maybe 60% Joel Embiid. But the thing is, a 50-60% Joel Embiid is better than both of our bigs combined. Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, they're gonna do their best to slow him down, but they're not gonna be able to shut him down. Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein, they do have the athletic ability to stay in front of Joel Embiid. And now that I'm thinking about it, with that injury, he's not as mobile. So I don't think staying in front of Joel Embiid is going to be that much of a hassle. But what is going to be a hassle is just when he decides to put his big butt on the block and he decides just to back down his defenders. Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, yeah, they're big bodies, but I'm not sure how much they can slow him down. And of course, as more time goes on, if the series lingers and it goes to a game 7, that just means that the more time goes by, the more time Joel Embiid has to get as much treatment as he can. In the first round of the playoffs, you play the first game, and I believe the first game is going to be on Saturday, and I believe it's at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So the first game is on Saturday, and then the next game, they might have a 4-day break. So the first round of the playoffs, Joel Embiid is going to benefit the most with those in-between days of rest. And the supporting cast of Joel Embiid, this is why I'm worried about the Philadelphia 76ers. Because even though Joel Embiid is 50 to 60% right now, just him being in the lineup, just him being on the court, just him being on the team right now, being able to play, he puts everybody else in their right position. When Joel Embiid was out, yeah, Tyrese Maxey definitely took up the offensive burden and put it upon his shoulders, and he was able to carry the 76ers to the point where they weren't fully out of the playoff race. But everybody else was in a position that they weren't used to. When Joel Embiid went out, that meant Tobias Harris had to produce a little bit more. That meant Kelly Oubre had to produce a little bit more. Cameron Payne, Paul Reed. Joel Embiid going down with that injury was a trickle-down effect. And yeah, the supporting cast didn't have Joel Embiid, the MVP, but they were able to build some sort of camaraderie, some sort of chemistry, and they were able to keep the team above water to the point where they're not completely out of the playoffs. So now with Joel Embiid back, he just puts everybody back into their natural position. Tobias Harris, Cameron Payne, Kelly Oubre, they don't have that much offensive pressure on them because they know that Joel Embiid, with all the double teams that he's going to see, with all the defensive schemes that's going to be drawn up against him, they know that he's going to be able to alleviate the pressure off of everybody else. Joel Embiid being back in the lineup, it's gonna do wonders for everybody else. He gets the ball, he gets double teamed, he's gonna find somebody open. If it's Buddy Hield, Oubre, Tobias Harris, everybody's gonna eat off of Joel Embiid, and that's what worries me. Just by him being on the floor, it changes the whole dynamic of the game. And now going back into the regular season, I wanted to see what were Jaylen Brunson's numbers against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now I know and I understand that the regular season is different than the playoffs. The regular season, the refs are a little bit more lenient. The refs are a little bit more strict with their calls. They're not going to let a lot of stuff go. Whereas in the playoffs, the intensity rises, the physicality rises, everything rises. And Jaylen Brunson for the season against the Philadelphia 76ers, if we take a look here, he averaged 22.3 points, 7.8 assists, and 3 rebounds in the 4 games against the 76ers this season. Now, you guys watching this video, first and foremost, thank you very much. But you guys might be asking me, hey, Dariel, let me take a look at the numbers of each game and let me see how Jaylen Brunson did. Guess what? I'm one step ahead of you. Let's check those numbers out. So if you take a look here, the first game on January 5th, Jaylen Brunson dropped 29 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. And let's take a look at the field goals. He was 11 of 20 from the field, 55%, and then 4 of 9 from three-point land, which is 44.5%. I'd say not too shabby. That's definitely a good outing for Jaylen Brunson. The second game against the Philadelphia 76ers, February 22nd, he had 21 points, 2 rebounds, 12 assists, 5 of 18 from the field, which is 27.8%. Not a great night. And he was 0 of 4 from three-point land. Not a great night. The third game, March 10th, he had 19 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. He's 6 of 22 from the field with 27.3 field goal percentage, 1 of 9 from three-point land, 11%. So those 2 games, not good games from Jaylen Brunson at all. And the last time these 2 teams met in the regular season was on March 12th. We're looking at 20 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, 7 of 12 from the field with 58.3%, which is definitely better than the previous 2 games, and 4 of 8 from three-point land, 50%, which again is better than the previous 2 games. For the 4 games, the first game, Jaylen Brunson definitely had a better outing, and then those 2 middle games, Jaylen Brunson kind of fell by the wayside. But fortunately for us, in that last regular season meeting between the Knicks and the 76ers, it looked like Jaylen Brunson picked it back up. But this playoff series against the Philadelphia 76ers is very interesting. I am very interested to see how the Philadelphia 76ers are going to guard Jaylen Brunson. Are they going to go and double team him right off rip? Or are they just going to let and see if Jaylen Brunson is going to start cooking? And then once he starts doing that, then are they going to start double teaming him? I'm also wondering how are they going to force Jaylen Brunson to be the scorer of the team, or are they going to force Jaylen Brunson to facilitate? Because that's one thing with great players. You got to pick your poison. And I feel like with Jaylen Brunson and the type of role that he's in right now, I feel like the smarter decision might be to shut him down and make everybody else around Jaylen Brunson beat you. But we don't know with the Philadelphia 76ers. I have a lot of respect for Nick Nurse, of course, being the coach of the Toronto Raptors who won the championship ring. But this is a different situation. He has Joel Embiid, he has Tyrese Maxey, 2 different talents that were on the Toronto Raptors team. And from the Knicks side, we know Jaylen Brunson is the best player on the team. Undoubtedly, with Julius Randle out with that dislocated shoulder, Jaylen Brunson is going to be the one that's going to determine if we're going to move forward in these playoffs or not. But I'm very interested to see who's going to be the person to step up and help Jaylen Brunson. Who's going to be Jaylen Brunson's Robin? At this point, I think all fingers are pointing towards Dante DiVincenzo. Josh Hart might have a few games where he's going to step up to the plate. And it was reported earlier today that Bogey had a little bit of a procedure done on his wrist. And he's going to play through it, but he's going to be a little handicapped. And now we got to throw that into the equation. Someone is going to have to step up for the Knicks team. And right now, I think the next best offensive weapon that we have is probably a Dante DiVincenzo, especially with the way he's been shooting from the three-point land. And one player that I have not brought up in this video at all is probably our secret weapon, OG Anunoby. Ever since we traded for this guy, just everything about the Knicks felt different. As far as defensively, we finally have someone that we could attach to the best offensive player on the opposing team. We have someone that we can point to and just be like, hey, we need you to slow him down. Not necessarily shut him down, but slow him down to the best of your ability. And with OG Anunoby, ever since he got traded to the Knicks, man, he's been a complete difference maker. When OG Anunoby is in the lineup, the Knicks are 19-3. Now, again, that's not specifically to the Philadelphia 76ers, obviously. That record is for all the teams that the Knicks played against within that span. 19-3. That's an incredible winning percentage. And in those 22 games, OG Anunoby's plus minus is plus 345. That's absurd. And for those 22 games, OG Anunoby was averaging 14.3 points, 39% from three-point land, and averaging 1.7 steals. Defense is where OG Anunoby thrives. And in this series against the 76ers, it looks like he's going to be put on Tyrese Maxey. And in my opinion, that actually might be a smart move. OG Anunoby is just bigger than Maxey. He has really long arms, he has very active hands, and if he's able to disrupt whatever Tyrese Maxey is doing just to make him feel a little uncomfortable, every time the 76ers are trying to get into their offensive set, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. It's not going to be as easy. And OG Anunoby is one of, if not the better, perimeter defenders in the league. OG Anunoby is kind of a Swiss Army knife. He has an offensive game. He has the ability to slow down the offensive player on the opposite team. And we're going to need OG Anunoby this series. OG Anunoby is probably going to be one of, if not the most important player that we have in this series. In my ranking, as far as important players, Jaylen Brunson obviously is number one. And that number two spot, to me personally, is between Dante and OG Anunoby. But guys, those are just some of my thoughts for the first round going up against the Philadelphia 76ers. Game 1, I believe, is on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And the playoffs are here, baby. Jaylen Brunson, like I said in previous videos, I feel like is going to have a legendary run, a historic run that's going to put him in the conversations of maybe even top 5 best players in the NBA. But we got to wait and see. But that's it for today's video, guys. I want to say thank you so much for checking it out. Let me know what you guys think about the Knicks drawing the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. Let me know in how many games you got the Knicks winning. But until next time, guys, you know the drill. You know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president. Jaylen Brunson for all the MVPs. The deuce is loose for co-MVP. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.